Okay, well, thank you again for having me. I'm excited to chat today. I have been skating for, like you said, over 25 years. And so for me, that means a lot of experiences. And I don't want to, go into too much detail with those stories because we could be here for hours. But I do love the message of staying positive, focusing on our mindset, overcoming obstacles. And that's very much in line with my story as a skater. When I was a young girl, I loved being on the ice. I loved skating. I loved performing. I did all of our local ice shows. I was more of a recreational skater. I still did competitions, but more small level within the province. And it was at the age of 18 that I made the decision that I really wanted to pursue my passion of figure skating and follow my dream to compete at a national level. So, as an 18-year-old, I was doing my doubles, but that was it. And to be a national level skater in most countries, especially in Canada, you have to be doing triples. So, I made it a goal of mine to start really training hard to acquire those jumps to help me move up to the next level. And I, at the time, was a really big fan of skating. I knew all of the skaters in the area. I knew all of the skaters around the world. I had watched many international competitions. My parents were really supportive. And I really knew what it took to get to a top level, but I just didn't necessarily have the skills. I didn't have the team around me. I didn't have the financial support. So it definitely was a challenging transition for me. I moved to a competitive training center where I was on the ice for about 3 hours a day. I had new fitness programming. I had new choreographers. It was definitely an expensive endeavor, which we all know figure skating is a very expensive sport. So because I was out of high school, I also found myself working to be able to afford to pay for skating. And my parents were super supportive, which was really helpful. But as an adult, I did need some independence where I was able to help contribute to my sport and my dreams. And so for 4 years, I was working as a coach and I was also working as a bartender server at a restaurant. So I was working late nights, early mornings, evenings, weekends, all the times I wasn't on the ice. Actually, and at the same time, too, I was trying to be a university student. So you can imagine juggling all these balls at the same time. I really wanted to be this awesome skater and follow my dream, but I had a lot of roadblocks. And pushing through those, what really helped me is remembering my love for the sport and what my goals were and why I was doing it. So, working at a restaurant until 2 in the morning, having to wake up early, to go back to another restaurant job or to go back on the ice. I, definitely had times where it no longer became fun, but knowing what the end goal was, and I really, really am determined and stubborn, and I wanted to achieve that goal of competing at a national championships. So for long, hard years of work, I remember very clearly we were at the challenge event. So anyone in Canada would know that that challenge event is our national qualifying where they only take the top 18 skaters of each level. I was already a senior skater. I had never made it to nationals as a junior, novice, pre-novice. And it was in my heart, my final shot at really making it. I had had many disappointing seasons year before, and I wasn't sure if I was going to continue. And I remember sitting in the challenge, kiss and cry booth, and I had a really good short program. I was seventh after the short program. And I knew that just staying calm, cool, and collected was going to be my trick to qualifying. I didn't have to do anything spectacular. I didn't have to, land a triple that I've never done before. I just had to go out, do my double axels. I had a couple triple sows and a triple loop in the program, and really just focused on the elements that I had in my control. And I think this is probably one of my favorite moments of skating in my career, but I remember sitting in the kiss and cry with my coaches, and I knew I had skated pretty well, but I had also made some mistakes. And when the announcer came on and said that I was still in first place, I knew that I had made it to nationals for the first time. I was 22 years old. This is December 2014. So it had been a long 4 years leading up to that point. And at that moment, I felt like I had won the Olympics. And I was in seventh place. And this is at a qualifying event. But for me, the goal was never really about winning. It was never about acquiring a national title. It was never, going to the Olympics. what drove me through all those challenging times was really my love for the sport and how much I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed working. I enjoyed learning. I enjoyed growing. I enjoyed the interactions I was making with my coaches, with the team, with all the younger skaters at the arena. And that really drove my enjoyment and kept me involved in the sport after being disappointed and let down multiple times. And I think that in my story being a little bit different than everybody else, not starting a competitive journey until I was 18, not landing a double axel until I was 18 as well, and then competing at my first national championships at the age of 22. I think that in itself sends a message to so many different skaters out there that you don't have to be a 14-year-old doing triples. You don't have to be on the junior Grand Prix circuit. You don't have to win a national title to be a success story in skating. And I think that that's a really important message, and something I try to have, spread out as much as I possibly can. So people know that there are other options in sport, and whatever your path, as long as you're excited about it and you're able to overcome those challenges, that's really what matters at the end of the day.
Wow. The last 3 minutes, I keep having goosebumps.